So what have I been up to lately? Quite a bit of reading for me. I'm Jack, this is Spread Book Joy, and this is a reading ramble where I talk about reading, my channel, all my thoughts on reading, what I've been reading, that kind of thing. So grab yourself a cup of tea, in a nice cup hopefully, because this is my Matilda cup, it's Matilda and some books, or beverage of your choice, and let's get into it. Cheers! So I'm going to talk about recent reads, quite a lot of them. I've been taking part in quite a lot of events and running some events as well. So I'm going to talk about the books I've been reading, and that will hopefully just mean that it feeds nicely into the events, and I'll talk about the events I've been taking part in and the ones I want to take part in. I'm going to talk to you a bit about the channel and the output of my channel. I'll talk about that when I get to it, because I've started this video several times, started talking about it and got on and on at length, but I'll talk about that at the end. I'm also going to talk about some videos on Booktube that I've been enjoying recently. So let's get into it. First of all, and it's not a proper wrap up, I'm going to talk about some of the things I read for my own readathon Picture This, which was run for the whole month of April with my wonderful friend Shelley Swearingen. And the reason I'm not going to talk about the books at length is because I think I'd like to do a proper top-down wrap up of all the things I read for Picture This, but I want to just mention some of the things that I read, because the prompts were all to do with my lovely friend Alice, who was a huge supporter of Picture This and loved picture books, and one of the things that we bonded over was picture books. So Shelley and I both talked to Alice about our love for picture books, and we decided to put all the prompts were prompts to do with Alice. One of the prompts was cats, and one of the prompts was Alice, and so one of the prompts was blue. So I've got two books about cats that I bought especially because they were books that Alice loved and recommended on one of her videos, and this is My Cat Likes to Hide in Boxes, and there are cats in this book, and so I really enjoyed these were fun, and I'm going to do, like I said, a proper wrap up video for Picture This when I get back from holiday. So it's kind of going to be a bit late into May, but who cares? I can do what I like, it's my channel, it's fine. And I revisited this gorgeous book, The Station Cat, which I do have a video on this one, but I revisited it because of cats as a prompt. And the only other book that I bought was the picture book that I bought was this one, The Cafe at the Edge of the Woods, and I keep saying in videos I'm going to do an individual review for it because I loved it. It was one of the Waterstones Children's Book Prize winners for this year, and it's by an author called Mikey Please, and I loved it. It's just such a cozy, warm hug of a book, and it is done so well that there's already a second book in the pipeline coming out in September, but I think it deserves its own single book review. And I mean, just look at this, how gorgeous is this? The illustrations are stunning in here and just cozy and lovely, and yeah, I'm looking forward to doing a review of that. But I got some other books out of the library for Picture This, not a huge amount this year. I didn't want to max out, and also I've got other books out from the library as well, so I couldn't really max out my card with loads of picture books, but I just went in and I just picked out books that just appealed to me. Okay, so I thought about the prompts in Alice, and I thought about some of the things in it, and actually they did end up fitting the prompts when I saw them, and I was like, oh, I wonder if they will fit the prompts, and they do in their own way, and I'll talk about it when I do my wrap up. But I read this beautiful Benji Davis book, The Snowflake, a gorgeous picture book called Books Are Not Just for Bedtime. Couldn't agree more. And this wonderful book, which I've been meaning to read for a long time, and it's called The Song of the Nightingale, and this is like a stunning kind of creation myth kind of thing, and I feel like this would make an amazing book for school, for a unit of English work, for many reasons, but I'll talk about that because I think it also deserves its own video. So I'm hoping to be able to extend these the time I've got these out for, and do a video for them. But also I also feel guilty taking picture books out of the library because they're there for the children. If they're not in the library, they're in my house, and children can't read them. However, there are loads of picture books in our library, so, and there are 2 copies of this one, so it's not so bad. But as always, Picture This was just a wonderful month of celebrating picture books and just getting to sit and read gorgeous picture books when I just wanted to decompress, so that was lovely. I normally buy loads of picture books for Picture This. I'll sort of save up my book fund. I have a little book pot of fund that I put like spare pennies and things into, and I usually sort of go and treat myself to some new picture books for Picture This, but I've been trying not to buy new books where possible. I've bought a few new books this month, but Picture This is just such a joy to me, and I hope long may it continue. Hopefully if you took part, let me know in the comments below. It'd be lovely to hear from you. And I've been enjoying watching people's content. So if you put some content out for Picture This and I haven't watched it yet, I apologise, but I'm going to be catching up on content as well. Another book that I bought because of The Cafe in the Woods, and I'm going to do a review of, is The Expanded Earth by Mikey Please. I've put it behind me here because I love the cover and I really enjoyed the book. And this is a beautiful edition of the book. It's a signed edition, so I treated myself to that. And the other book I've treated myself to recently is Terry Pratchett's Night Watch, the Penguin Modern Classics edition, and I'm going to be taking this on holiday with me because it's a new edition in the Penguin Modern Classics series, and it has an introduction and annotations by two academics, basically. One who is a professor of literature and another one who is an academic who is a really good friend of Terry Pratchett's. And I've read part of the introduction and already I'm just so excited to get into this. So I'm going to be reading this, taking copious notes on it and putting a review out for it as well. I already did a video on whether this is the Discworld's finest novel, because that's why it's been picked for Penguin Modern Classics, because they say it is Terry Pratchett's finest novel. I think it is definitely one of the best. I mean, it's arguable that it could be seen as the best, but I think there are others that could stand alongside it, and I put my case for that in the video that I made for it. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to reading this. And this is not something I pre-ordered, so yeah, that came in as well. But that is going to be it for me for book buying, unless it is something very particularly special to me, like this, or yeah, something that I might feel I might miss out on if I don't get it, or something I'm desperate to get. But really, I've been trying to just really push back on the book buying again, because I was doing the Read What You Own challenge and then I just kind of fell off the wagon. I've said this in another video and I still think I've said it wrong, but I basically started buying more books and I bought quite a few books. But I like to buy books as souvenirs and I've been to a few places, so that's what's been going on there. The other things that I've read, well, I have read quite a lot. Actually, I'm just going to talk to you about what I read. In the last video that I put out, the Courtier Crisis book tag, I talked about the fact that I was reading Raising Hair by Chloe Dalton. I finished that. That was the group read for People April, and People April is a marvellous readathon hosted by Roz and Elizabeth and Brian, whose channels I will link in the description box below, and it is all around biography and memoir. And I put out a video on my favourite biographies and memoirs because it's one of my favourite things to read, is a good biography or memoir.
Editing Jack here. I realised I didn't tell you what this book was about or whether I liked it. I enjoyed it very much. It's a memoir about Chloe Dalton raising a baby leveret that she rescued during the pandemic, and yeah, it's a wonderful memoir of that time and the impact it had on her. And she talks about the nature surrounding her, and she learns more about hares. I particularly enjoyed finding out more about hares because they are absolutely fascinating creatures, particularly the mythology and folklore surrounding them. So yeah, it was a great book and I highly recommend it.
I've got one that I didn't read, which most people would expect me to read, which is When Stars Are Scattered, and that is by Victoria Jameson and Omar Mohammed. And this is a graphic memoir of Omar Mohammed's time as a refugee in a Kenyan refugee camp, and it's supposed to be very heartbreaking. It's kind of middle grade, but anyone can read it at any age really, and lots of people read it for People April because we're reading it as part of the Reading the Globe YA readathon that I run with Katja from Page Turners with Katja. We're reading translated and global fiction for young adults and middle grade books, and this was the March-April book. Basically, it was supposed to be read in April, but the reason I haven't read it yet is because we're doing a live show about it in June, and I need to read my live show books closer to the time of the live show, or I forget exactly the details and things like that. So yeah, that I learned my lesson after our last live stream. We did a live stream about the Forgotten book, and it had been a couple of months since I'd read it. So yeah, I'm not making that mistake again. I'm going to read this before the live show. So yeah, that's When Stars Are Scattered, which I'm really looking forward to. Another biography that I read, which kind of fit in with People April, was The Durrells of Corfu. And I love My Family and Other Animals. I talked about it in my biographies video, where I love that book. I love the family. I love the depiction of the time in 1930s Corfu. So Gerald Durrell wrote about his family's moving from England to Corfu in the 1930s, and it's from his perspective. He was a child at the time, 10 years old, and he was obsessed with animals and nature, and it is just heartwarming and funny and just wonderful, and they're in a really eccentric English family. And this book, The Durrells of Corfu, wasn't very well written at all, but I learned an awful lot about the family. So I appreciated it for that, and I read it in like a day. I picked it up one day and I read it because I saw it came up on a recommended reads after I'd been listening to My Family and Other Animals again, which I don't put down as a reread because I didn't listen to the whole thing but just listened to parts of it, and I wanted to find out a bit more about them, and this gave me a huge amount of information because of course Gerald Durrell kind of fictionalized quite a bit of and exaggerated quite a bit and stole stories that were about one of his siblings and said they were about another one of his siblings, and kind of it was just a mishmash of memories and overly exaggerated and dramatized. So I wanted to find out about the family, and they are all fascinating people. So yeah, I really enjoyed reading that book, but it wasn't very well written, and there was some, like, I wanted to know more about Margot, and I wanted to know more about the women in their lives and things like that. And there is a book by Margot which I have put on reserve so Margot Durrell, his sister, I've put on reserve at the library for the audio, and that should be coming through in June, I think. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that. I finished a book called The Coast Road by Alan Murren, which I'd had on hold for a while. I think it was on some prize lists or something. I think I saw it over on Scott's channel, Gunpowder Fiction and Plots. Someone's channel, they mentioned The Coast Road by Alan Murren, and I read it because it was all about women in the 1990s in Ireland, 3 women in a small village, and Ireland is trying to vote to legalise divorce because it was illegal up until the 1990s, and these 3 women are stuck in really difficult circumstances because of that law and because of marriage and the effects of this on all of them. And it's a very small town in Ireland, and one woman had run off with another man and she's come back to town and everyone is gossiping about it. And yeah, really interesting book, and I enjoyed reading that. I finished Terry Pratchett's A Stroke of the Pen, The Lost Stories. This and The Country Girls by Edna O'Brien both had 15 letters in the title, which was the Ides of March prompt for the Ben Reads Good Challenge. So completed. And that was just the stories Terry Pratchett wrote under a pen name when he was a journalist before he was a famous author, and they've been unearthed since he died and published in this series. And it's just delightful. It's especially delightful if you listen to the audiobooks because they're read by lots of different famous people. So yeah, that was just nice. Then I got a book out that I've been waiting for some time called Dead in Devon. So I've been doing a lot of library book reading, and Dead in Devon is part of the Devon Mysteries by Stephanie Austin, who's a local author here, and that fits in with my Southwest Stories project. I want to read sort of more local authors and books either set in the Southwest or by authors from the Southwest, and that's part of a project that I've got ongoing. It's nothing that I haven't got a particular aim for it. I just want to read more like that while I'm living in the Southwest of England. And it's a cosy crime series set in the town of Ashburton, which is on the edge of Dartmoor, and we spend a lot of time on Dartmoor because it's a lovely place, and we really enjoy visiting all the towns around there. And I have been to the town that it's supposedly set in, though it's a fictionalised version of it, and it was a pretty good cosy mystery. Some of the things about it I don't know if I really cared for in the story, some of the relationships and some of the ways that the main character was portrayed, but it's the first book in a very popular series, so I'm going to continue with it because it's the first book, so it should hopefully improve and get better as I read more of it. But yeah, enjoyable. If you want to read a book set in Devon and that gives you a feel of what it's like to live in Devon, then I think it was pretty good, actually. So the other book that I then finished was the FOMO Book Club March-April read, Eragon by Christopher Paolini. By the time you see this, we'll have done a live stream about it. We're doing that tonight, and I didn't enjoy it. It's the first FOMO book I have not enjoyed. So if you want to know why I didn't enjoy it, you can go and watch the live stream. But in a nutshell, it was just long, overly long. Like it was like 500 pages nearly, and it was all, where are we? Yeah, about 500 pages, nearly 500 pages of very derivative fantasy. I mean, it's all fantasy is quite derivative, to be fair. And actually, I'm very basic when it comes to fantasy. I love high fantasy. I love elves, dragons, dwarves. I love all of that. I am not someone who needs to have it be something completely different. I'm a traditionalist when it comes to fantasy. I love it. So when I started reading, I was like, oh, this is going to be good. No, it's the way it's written. He wrote it when he was 15. Props to him. He's still the youngest ever published author, and it was a huge bestseller, and it has a huge cult following. And I can see that children would enjoy this, and it's a good gateway fantasy. But the info dumping so boring after a while. I was just like, I'm done with it. And I had to finish it because it was a FOMO book. And because I had to finish it and I couldn't just DNF it and go, oh, not for me, I then started to really dislike it. Now, it's not the book's fault that I picked it for our book club. Yes, it was my pick. It's been on my shelves for a while. It's a book I feel I should have read because it's such a huge bestseller, and I've never read it. And Gemma had read it, and then Gemma said to me, oh, it's nowhere near as good as I remember, but Gemma read it when she was younger, right? So she obviously has her younger person's memories of it. So go and watch the live stream. I try not to be too salty in my videos here, but when I'm on a live stream, sometimes I can't hold it in. I try not to be though, because I don't want to rip a book apart that is well loved, and this is very well loved. So, and I do recommend it for children or younger people, but yeah, it's not one of those younger people's books that stands up for an adult read, like Lirail, the Garth Nix book. Brilliant, that's brilliant fantasy, and it stands up for a read. It's just well constructed and really good. Unfortunately, Eragon was not for me. I think the books supposedly do get better, and he only published another one of it. Like, that book was published 20 odd years ago, and he published the 5th book in the series last year. So it's still going strong. People still love it. Just wasn't for me. The best book I've read recently was something that I read for Misery May. So Misery May is run by Scott at Gunpowder Fiction and Plot and Gemma from Gemma Books, two lovely, lovely people, but they love a miserable book. And I reread Shuggie Bane by Douglas Stewart, and I reread this because the girls that I am in a chat with, Ange, it's her favourite book, and Dani and Charlie were reading it, and I was like, I really do want to reread this at some point, and they gave me the FOMO, so I started reading it with them, and I just got so swept into the story. Shuggie Bane is the 2020 Booker Prize winner, and I read it about 3 years ago, and I really enjoyed it then. I do have some elements of it that don't quite sit right with me, however, very minor, but the book is just brutal. It's a brutal depiction of a young boy's life growing up in 1980s Glasgow with an alcoholic mother and an absentee father who was, there was some DV involved as well, and so this book has all of the trigger warnings for content that you could wish for. Basically, I say wish for, you know what I mean? It's got loads of trigger warnings. So if you want to know what trigger warnings and the content and the issues are, you can Google it. If you look on Storygraph, it will give you the trigger warnings for it, but the content warnings. But having said all of that and warning you about it, the characters in this book are so well written. Shuggie, I just fall in love with Shuggie, and he breaks my heart. This is the second time I've read it, and his mum, Agnes Bane, is an absolutely iconic character. Like, they keep talking about making this into a TV show. It's stuck in developmental hell at the moment because no one will fund it, and it's just, I can't wait to see it. It's Douglas Stewart's writing that really swept me up this time, because I read the first book and it was kind of this kind of emotional story, and I knew the story when I read it the second time, so I was really looking at the language and really swept up in his writing. Is just beautiful. He writes beautifully about brutal things. So yeah, if you've never read Shuggie Bane and you like that kind of hard-hitting fiction, and just read it. It's a gut punch of a book, but what a book. Amazing. So plans. Still, in the month of May, I might read some more miserable books, but I feel like after Shuggie, I need a bit of a break. But I'm going to read something a bit more delightful. I got this out from the library. I've been waiting for it. I had to order it from another library to be delivered. And it is called Rune, The Tale of a Thousand Faces. And it is one of the other Waterstones Children's Book Prize winners. So I'll have read Cafe at the Edge of the Woods, this, and there's another book, The King of Nothing, that I also have out from the library. I will review all of them at some point. But this is a graphic novel, and it has lots of representation, and I'm reading this because I wanted to read it anyway, but it fits in beautifully with the Spoonies Readathon, which is around hidden disabilities, and it is run by my lovely friend Emily at Novell Novels and Kat from Brews and Reviews. They run this every May, and they run it in May usually? I think it is usually in May, but it's May this year, even if it isn't other years. But this book has some disability rep in it. So we have a character who's profoundly deaf, and yeah, I think there's some other representation in it as well. I'm not quite sure at the moment, but this book has British Sign Language in it, so the characters use BSL, and so they have drawn the signs that they've got in there, and yeah, it looks really lovely and cozy, and it's all about best friends Cheery and Di who stumble into a forgotten realm, tormented by the evil Shadow King who yearns to spread terror to Little Valley and beyond. Can they seal the way between their worlds before it is too late? And will the druids, warriors, archaeologists and magical goats they encounter help them along the way? And I think it's set in Wales. So yeah, they find a magical gateway when they're out exploring in a forest. I've read the very start of it, but yeah, it's supposed to be lovely, and it won the Children's Book Prize from Waterstones, and it fits in with Spoonies. So there we go. So I'm reading that. The other book I've got is this huge heavy book, which I really do need to read it before I have to take it back to the library, but I can't take it on holiday with me. Look how heavy it is. But I did start it. This was the God and Anatomy, and this is actually about it's not a religious book, it's about portrayal of the anatomy of God in the Judeo-Christian tradition and how that has shaped civilization and our thoughts on us as people. And yeah, it's really interesting. It's like a sociological kind of look at things. And this was Gareth's bi-monthly Belief and Behaviour book club pick. Can't believe I got that right. But Gareth is not sticking to his schedule for reading these. He has said that he, will still read the books over the course of the year, but read them when you like, kind of thing, because he was struggling to keep up with the reading for it. So yeah, I've got this and I want to get to this at some point. The other thing that's happening then, I've made an announcement for Joy Reading June. In the month of June, we will be reading for Joy because our lovely friend Alice, it's her birthday month, and unfortunately it's also the month that she passed away last year, and she was planning on doing a month of reading for Joy, just joyful reading, and I've got a video on it where I've announced it. So if you want to join myself and Charlie and Gemma in keeping this readathon, well, it's not really a readathon, there are no prompts, there's no rules, but this wonderful reading event that Alice didn't get a chance to actually do, we are going to do it, and we're going to try and do it every year to remember her around this time of her birthday. And yeah, read for Joy. I'll put a link to the announcement video in the description box. So I want to talk to you about some videos I've enjoyed and some channels I've been enjoying. And one channel I've been enjoying a lot lately is new to me, so this is why I'm introducing it, is The Great Literary Rabbit Hole by Candy, which is a great name because I love going down bookish rabbit holes. And Candy had a YouTube channel about other things, and this is her Booktube channel, which is fairly new. So I'd go and watch Candy because she's doing all sorts of wonderful things. She's running like a witchy book event with Julie from The Hungry Bookworm. Oh no, Bookish Travels, that's her channel now, and they're running that together. And she's also doing her own DIY masters, literature masters, I think, and she's also just a really fascinating person. She's done some great videos. The ones that I really enjoyed recently, she did one because she took part in Picture This, and she talked about adults enjoying things that are traditionally for children and how that can be perceived, and I really enjoyed that discussion. And she's also done a really good discussion on TBRs, and if you've been around here for a while, I have my thoughts on TBRs. So yeah, go and check out Candy's channel, watch a few of her videos, and if you like them, then subscribe. Don't subscribe if you're not going to watch her channel because it just does her channel damage, but if you like her, go and subscribe. Talking of literary rabbit holes, a video I really enjoyed lately, and I will link in the description box, go and watch it. Aaron read a book, or Aaron read a book. Aaron talked about his favourite authors, and how when you look up what your favourite authors like to read or what inspired them, it can send you down these amazing sort of rabbit holes of discovery of long forgotten authors, or authors that you think, gosh, no, I really should read that because they've inspired my favourite authors. And he was talking about that, and I just loved it because he talked about Terry Pratchett, and it kind of made me think of two other videos that I loved. One was Katie Lumsden's video all about the they're basically, I think in America they call them blurbs. In the UK, a blurb is just the thing that tells you about the book, but they basically the quotes that you get on the back of books that recommend books to you. And it made me think of this book that I picked up. First of all, I picked it up because, and I'll talk about another video in a moment, it made me think of the cover art, because I love old sci-fi fantasy book covers, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I bought it because it said simply the funniest science fiction book ever written, Terry Pratchett. So my favourite author thinks, I love Terry Pratchett's humour, thinks this is the funniest science fiction book ever written, so I had to get it. Oh yeah, so watch Katie's video, because Katie talks about how important these are and how hard they are to get, because Katie is not only an author herself, but she's also worked in publishing and had to get authors to give quotes for books. And I used to not dismiss them entirely. I do pay attention to them, but I didn't realise I pay more attention to them now since watching Katie's video. So that's fascinating. And another really fascinating video talking about cover art is a video I watched, and I can't remember the name of the channel, but I will put it in the description box below, and I urge you to go and watch it if you've ever wondered about this. But I love old cover art. So for instance, when I wanted to get another copy, because I got rid of my copies of Assassin's Apprentice, the Farseer trilogy, some years ago, and all you can buy are these modern editions, and I'll flick a picture up here so you can see the difference. But I wanted the old, I love fantasy with the old concept art on it, and this, I then hunted for some secondhand copies of the old Assassin's Apprentice covers, because I love, look at the artwork on here, it's just stunning. And this artwork is by the same concept artist, John Howe, who designed the books for who did the concept art for Lord of the Rings, not just the books that, you know, the old books that you've got with the beautiful artwork on, but the films as well. So I was really excited to learn that when I hunted out for these covers, and I looked up the artist, because I was like, I have clear memories of reading them with these covers on. And yeah, so this video is all about why we have gone from having amazing concept art like this to having quite minimalist covers like this. And there is a reason for it, and it's a really well, it's not surprising when you think about it, and I'm not going to spoil it for you. I think you should go and watch the actual video and find out why it is. But if you're someone who kind of bemoans the fact that we've gone from these beautiful artistic renderings of these fantasy worlds and science fiction worlds to these kind of weird geometric, I'll show you another one, which Way of Kings, this kind of style. If you wonder why we've gone from that concept art to this kind of thing, take a look at that video. It is eye-opening. Right, I've been rambling on long enough. I was going to talk to you about reading rambles and how reading rambles are forcing me to, they're an easy route for me to take when I want to do lots and lots of single book reviews and videos on topics in depth. And when I haven't got the time, I can do a reading ramble. And that's why I stopped doing them last year. I love doing them because they're chatty and they're fun and people like watching them, but they're an easy way out for me to not do the hard things. So I'm kind of going to think about it while I'm away on holiday, if I can still do them, but not let them get in the way of me doing the videos I want to make and that I really should be making. Anyway, if you want to talk to me about any of these books or any of these events, please chat to me in the comments below. If you are not sure what to say, you can leave me anything, emojis to do with Italy, because I'm going to be in Italy by the time you're watching this, hopefully eating pasta, drinking wine and enjoying some sunshine. So if you've never been here before and you like this rambling nonsense, I don't know why you would, it was very, very rambly today, and you want to see more of this rambling nonsense, maybe subscribe and stick around, and hopefully I will see you again here soon. Bye!